morning, good
Good
afternoon,
morning.
and good evening, wherever you are watching this in the world. Welcome to RickyVillaTV, along with Shelfside Spurs and Spurs Wasian, and we have a very special guest with us today, the one, the only, the Resonator.
Hello. Hello.
How are you, sir?
I'm good. I'm a little bit rusty. I haven't been streaming for better part of 2 years.
Don't worry about it. I do it every week, and I'm still pretty shit.
That's good. That's good. I'm glad that we can both go at this with a sense of what the hell is going on here.
Yes, well, we'll certainly get onto that in a minute. So, everybody who's watching, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell thing to know when the shows are coming on. And if you want to join in, there is the link for StreamYard, and we will bring you in. Hopefully, we'll have a few more guests coming in a little bit later. Just got a message from Kev. He said his laptop is good, and he's trying his iPhone. And hopefully, Johnny Einstein will be along in about 5 minutes.
Awesome.
So, talk to me about our manager, Rez. Do you want to do your rant now before everyone else comes on? And we do this?
No, it's far too soon. No. I've got to ease back into it. Again. No, I mean, look, we're seeing what's happening here. It's the usual thing, just in a slightly different flavor at the moment. I think we have a squad that has been underinvested in. Agreed, but at the same time, this manager's approach is not suitable for this league, unfortunately. You know, the what I liken it to is formula racing, right? So, you know, you got Formula One, which is like the top level of formula racing, and you got your Formula 2, you know, Formula E4, you know, whatever numbers that are currently being used, right? And the question becomes, would you put a Formula, 3 car up against Formula 1 cars, right? And the answer is no, because it might win you a Formula 3 race, it might win you a Formula 3 title, but actually I don't think Formula 3 even exists anymore, but it won't win in the top level because the opposition is so good that you can be the best Formula 3 car in the world, but you're never going to beat a Formula 1 car, right? Or it would be incredibly difficult. Good to see you too, Luke. It's just the nature of the beast. I've said it before that Postecoglou's approach really boils down to, it's more technical than this, but it boils down to outscore the opponent. And that, I think, is an approach that can work well in a league like, you know, the Japanese league, the J League, or it can work in Australia. Can even work if you're one of the big two in Scotland. But with the quality of defenses and the quality of attacks that you get in Premier League clubs, by the time you get to the point where you can outscore the opponent, they've already put so many past you that you're behind. And getting to that point is difficult, right? Look at Liverpool, right? We put 3 past Liverpool. No other club has done that this season, I believe, right? And there was a massive post-mortem allegedly in the Liverpool dressing room after the game as to how the hell how did you let them put 3 past us? But at the same time, we shipped 6 at home, right? So it doesn't work. It can sometimes get you decent results, as we've seen against Everton, against Villa, against Southampton. But weirdly, if you look at Southampton under Russell Martin up until he got sacked, he was playing the approach that Postecoglou does. Maybe not quite as gung-ho, but wildly open. And against that kind of team, it works. Against a low block team, and we can talk about injuries and all of that stuff, but there's a very cogent counter argument against that already anyway, which I'm sure we'll come to. But yeah, it's just not right for the Premier League. I'm sorry, and I'm someone who will support a manager until they leave, but I just don't see it working for this guy.
Yeah. Very, very well put and understandable point there. All right, we have 2 other guests just ready to come in. Both of them legends in their own lunchboxes.
Excellent.
So welcome, Eugene.
Hi guys.
And welcome, Kev.
Happy New Year, Res.
Hello.
You're looking a bit cold there,
How are you
Kev.
guys doing?
Work to do.
Oh, okay.
Got my Fagin gloves on. Yeah.
Excellent.
We got snow over here. Yes, we can. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. All right.
How are you doing, Eugene?
Happy New Year, Res. Happy New Year to Kev, and Happy New Year, guys. Right, I'm doing okay. I'm just getting bored with this. Yeah, just getting bored with this Ange in, Ange out thing, because I keep saying, right, from day one, after the 10 games, after we got our Tottenham back, and I had my rant of I don't want this fucking Tottenham because it's shit. We haven't won the league in 62 years. One club in 17 years, right? I want a new Tottenham. And we fell back into that corner again, right? So I guess what I've been seeing with Ange is I'm Ange don't care, because my focus has always been Levy out. And while the rest of the fan base has been, distracted with all this shenanigans that have been going on, right? We were the minority from the beginning. And the worst part is, right, with Ange coming in, right, we've become the minuscule minority, and it's been diluted fighting because of Ange, which, to tell the truth, right, the football sucks. I can't stand it. I watched along with actually viewing right yesterday, thanks to Jens, right. I was in a pub surrounded by 20 Newcastle fans, and there were 2 Spurs fans there, right.
You're cutting out, Eugene.
I thought it was me again.
No, you're all right.
No, it's Eugene. I think he's sharing your internet connection, Kev.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Coming from Malaysia via Ireland. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, sorry, Eugene. You're cutting out quite badly.
Yeah, you've gone Dalek-y.
Exterminate.
The problem is that he's still talking.
Come out and log back on, Eugene.
Yeah.
I'm just going to remove you and then try and come back on again.
Yeah.
So, yeah, what Eugene was saying, he was he did a watch along yesterday, and he was in a pub full of Malaysian Toon fans, and there was one Tottenham fan who you could see in the camera for most of the game, and I swear that his expression did not change the whole game. It was like he was not happy.
Yeah.
But I was actually quite impressed, because I think if that had happened in England, yeah, there probably would have been a few punches thrown, some pint glasses flying. But everybody seemed to be really, really friendly. But now we also have another legend just about to log on to the show. The one, the only, Johnny Einstein.
Hello, fucking hell, Rez, you all right?
I'm all right. How you doing, pal?
Yeah, good to see you, mate. You all right?
Yeah, good. God, it's the old crew.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I better change this.
We're not old.
We've got to start talking balls now.
Oh, is John sharing your internet as well? Yeah.
I don't know what I've done.
I don't know.
Eugene's back.
I just want to.
That's all I'm saying, right? I was stuck with 20 over Newcastle fans, and they were cheering and all that, right? And of course, all I gotta say with Daniel Levy, right? Daniel Levy, who have depressed the international Spurs fans, really depressed them, right? And they don't even want to come out and do viewings anymore, right? We're all hiding at home, right? And I don't know what to say anymore. all I can say now is, right, my focus has been saying, Ange is a distraction, deflection. Focus should be Levy out. The Ange in, Ange out, Levy out. People should not be fighting among each other because of Ange, because Ange is not the problem, right? And a lot of people says that, I hear stories of people say that Levy didn't pick the team, Levy didn't do this, Levy didn't do that. But fuck, Levy picked Ange, right? Levy picked Ange to bring us to this even more, right, divisive conundrum that we're in the fan base. And all this while, right, I've been saying, all the things that comes out from Ange's mouth, right, I can't trust him anymore. I think he's a liar, right? And he keeps on talking nonsense. He contradicts himself all the time. And now he's blaming the referees, guys. He's got no one else to blame. Injuries have been used and they cannot use anymore, right? Illness, virus, the bug, right? So what else can we say? And it's not to say that I'm a person that always, I'm always very, I accept everyone's opinion, right? No one is right, no one is wrong. It's just football. But guys, common sense, see with your own eyes, right? We've been regressing ever since that 10 games that we've won, have not lost until now. Our points now has dropped, right, to 1.20. And after that, I've been saying this season, we'll be in a relegation battle the way we play, right? Because the football doesn't show they have any composure. Our players look lost. Our wings, right, on the left and the right, are always exposed, right? And somehow or another, right, we're playing football like we're called primary school kids, When the ball is there, everybody chases after it, and everybody runs to one side of the field. And it's so irritating, because any basic person with football common sense can see that this is not working. But I understand. I keep saying our fan base has got manager PTSD. That's it. Can't sack this manager, because if we sack this manager, we're going back into the same cycle. Yes, guys, we can't sack the manager. We're going back in the same cycle again. But
it boils down to
how long can we take this shit?
The thing that really gets to me is you get people just all throughout the fan base. They go, "Oh, we got to back the manager." Okay, what precisely does that look like? Backing the manager, what is it that we as a fan base can do to back the manager, right? We don't get much of a say in that, right? We can raise our voices in forums like this, fine, and we can sort of express our dissatisfaction, but ultimately this all boils down to awful mismanagement at the top of the organization, right? There comes a point where someone has to be held accountable. The problem we've got is that we have an executive board that consists of a man who refuses to acknowledge that he is unfit for purpose, who has surrounded himself with management consultants who are just a bunch of yes persons, let's call them. Obviously, we've got to be, use the correct term, but what used to be called a yes man, right?
Mandarins.
We minimize it as well, right?
Hold on, guys.
And that's where the
We've
problem
got our shell side back. We've got our shelf side back.
We've got our shelf side back. But I'd also like to say, everybody rise for King Arthur.
Big up, John. Happy New Year.
Thank you, gentlemen.
How are you?
Are you not entertained?
Hey, Arthur. Big up, Arthur. That's good. Nice to see you too, Arthur.
Yeah.
Happy New Year, Arthur.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
I've got to say, I do feel much as I think that a manager is at Spurs certainly is often not the cause of problems. I have to say I do resent Ange Postecoglou a little bit, right? I never resented managers that were doing badly for Spurs before, because I knew that they were trying to do the best they could, right? With this man, I don't see someone who I think is really doing the best he can. He is putting his own pride and his own wishes above what is best for the club, and that for me makes me resent him a little bit. It's obvious to everyone with eyes that this approach is incorrect. He is doing the wrong thing, and yet he refuses to change, and that for me causes resentment.
Too stubborn.
Yeah.
John,
I understand.
can see on your thing, leaving out Ange in. Would you like to have a counter argument?
As I put on our group yesterday, I mean, it's not nothing surprising that's happening at the moment, is there? We all said in the summer that he hadn't backed him properly with the first team squad. We were probably about 3 players shy: a centre back, a left back cover, and a defensive midfielder, a strong defensive midfielder. And all our chickens are coming down to roost, aren't we? It's not Ange's fault; it's Levy's fault and Lange's fault. They didn't back Ange as he needed to be done. I mean, he kept saying, didn't he? And last year we had a bit of an easy run because we weren't in Europe. We're going to have twice as many games pretty much this year. The squad's thin. We need bolstering, like real first team players that can come in and actually step in, and there's not a distinct drop off, and we're not having to use youngsters and putting people out of position and stuff. And everything that Ange was warning about is coming home to roost, isn't it? Really. Yeah. So it's and the fact that the transfer window open and it's taken us what are we on now, the 5th, 6th to get a goalie in, and he hasn't. We had that busy month coming up where we've got Newcastle, Liverpool twice. Who else we got? We got the Gooners, haven't we, coming up?
Yeah.
Horrible month for 6 weeks. Yeah, but not giving him any players to bolster the injury crisis is ridiculous.
No, but John, I got to counter that. Is that because he has come out and said before he's satisfied with what he has, and then now he's turning around blaming it on injuries again. So that's what I'm saying, right? He contradicts himself too often until, right? I think he's the perfect puppet for Daniel Levy, because the things that comes out from Levy's mouth is like what's coming out from Ange's mouth, right? And the worst part is that instead of uniting the fans, he's put even more divisions in the fans, right? It all started with the I will call it the M City game at home, right? Last season, right? Where he came out with all this winning mentality, fucking bullshit, right?
Yeah.
And then when we went to Brighton and we were up 2-0 and we lose 3-2, what did he say? We didn't deserve to get any better? What the fuck is he talking about? You're up 2-0. You don't deserve to win that game, right? Or at least draw it or make changes. Oh, I made my changes in the 80th minute because I didn't think that anything would help. What kind of bullshit is that? He goes back and forth, right? In the beginning of the season, right? He says that he doesn't want to get involved with the referee decisions, right? It's there, blah blah blah. Now he comes and says that yesterday. What did he say? Right? He offered his statements, right?
If all things were equal and balanced, that was the phrase or variation that he used 9 times in a single incident.
So, but I come to the conclusion now. It's very simple, guys. I'm going to be Ange. I'm Ange. Don't care, to tell the truth, right? But I'm going to support the Ange in thing because I want to see us crash and burn and see whether this social experiment by our club, right, on our fan base, right, whether we'll accept it, right? Let's go in the relegation battle and see how we feel, right? It's bringing us back to the we'll call the 90s again, bro. We're getting that tingly feeling, right? We got our Tottenham back.
and the thing that you got to bear in mind, this is the other one, coming to a point that I was going to raise earlier. We talk about injury depletion, but if you actually look at it, the only place that we're actually got a major problem is in defense. And obviously I'm not saying that's not a small problem. But the point is that when it comes to the midfield and when it comes to our attack, we're not that depleted, right? If we were, we wouldn't have put arguably our 2 best players on paper, certainly, on the bench yesterday, right? And the other thing to bear in mind, Brandon Austin yesterday played well, right? That was his first senior start for Tottenham. And he has been with the club for 17 years, since the age of 8.
That's embarrassing.
What about all this guff about Spurs, this was some years ago, refocusing on the way that they've done before with attacking players and youth players that we bring through the academy, right? That's bollocks, because in actual fact, Spurs were the original checkbook club going back to the 60s, I think you'll find, right? But if we're going to do that, where was Brandon Austin when Vicario got injured, right? Why is our backup goalkeeper a 30-something, I think 37, 38, something like that, right? No
36,
disrespect to him.
37.
I actually think that Fraser Forster's was certainly an excellent goalkeeper, right? He's in his old age now for a footballer, agreed, but he's still got really good shot stopping ability.
Yep.
But he's not that kind of, ball at his feet goalkeeper that Ange's system requires. Why are we playing Brandon Austin so late? And additional to that, with Alfie Whiteman also available, why have we gone out and signed a goalkeeper for £13 million? Why were we devoting time to doing that instead of devoting time to actually solving the problems with this squad? We have once again gone back to classic Tottenham. Bad investment, interference, signings that make no sense, and at the moment, a manager that is failing.
Could I just say?
Yeah.
I said to you-
No,
I
and
said
the
to
youth
you-
project, right?
Gentlemen, smoke and mirrors, smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, that's true.
Think
Yeah.
about it.
And to tell the truth, right?
That's exactly
the
what's
youth
going on.
Yeah. And the youth project has always been the bullshit, right, for us, right? And you're looking at players like, when you got so many of the, to tell the truth, right? Our defense is decimated, right? If you put any manager in Premier League, right, at this time and moment, right, in this position, right, he'll do shit too. But the problem is that if Ange, right, put out some youngsters out there, right, I wouldn't be so angry. At least he's giving the youngsters a chance, right, to at least try to prove themselves and to show us that it's something that he's trying to do. But now what he's done is that he's used Archie Gray. And everybody in this whole season's been saying Archie Gray is bought in for a center midfielder and all that. I said, bullshit. Archie Gray was excused, right, for not buying defenders this season.
Yeah.
Right? And he's been used, right, across the back. And to tell the truth, the poor kid, right, if he survives this, it'll be a very good benchmark for him to move on. Right? If a better manager comes in and coaches him properly, if he doesn't survive this, right, £40 million, Archie Gray is going to crash and burn. Right? But hopefully he does. He has that strong mentality. That's what we need from him. Right? And to tell the truth,
Gentlemen, which other man in Levy's seat has paid himself 500 to 600 grand extra for what? What's he won? Nothing.
Yeah. Highest paid chairman in the world in the league.
6.6 million.
Yeah, highest paid chairman in the league, and yet, has achieved nothing.
Yeah.
And I said to Jens yesterday and Kev Rez that our transfer policy appears to be, is it a good deal rather than do we need that player?
Absolutely.
Like, that's a good deal
absolutely.
at the moment. He's a good age. He might have some sell-on value. It's a good deal. We don't need him at the moment, but it's a good deal. That seems to be our transfer policy, doesn't it, really?
Absolutely.
Well, that and also
Johnny,
no scouts.
Johnny,
just data-led.
Data-led,
yeah. No, the truth, right? I've been saying, right, we don't buy players, right, for the football squad or the football team. We buy players like we're buying cryptocurrency, hedging on them, right? Hopefully they'll make big and then we can cash in on them. But the sad part is, right, this, let's say 5 years, right, our transfer policy has been shit. We've been buying shit players for the past 5 years, right? And I don't understand.
We've been buying shit
Mourinho
players for the last 25 years, Jurgen.
Yeah.
Not that bad, right? We did get Bale, we did get Modric, right? We did get
Look at them. Hold on, whoa. Sorry, I'm just going to pull you up on that, Eugene. Actually, look at those transfers at the time they happened. When we bought Bale, we bought him as a 17-year-old, I believe, who showed a lot of promise. We got lucky that he turned into, at the time, the best player in the world, right? But when we bought him, that's not what he was.
That's right.
No,
for a while, he every time he played, we would fail to win for a long time.
Yes, I know, but
That was going to sell him to Forest.
That's right.
Bale was Levy's Bitcoin. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. That's precisely right. And it happened to work for him on that one. The only player that I can remember off the top of my head that Spurs have bought that you think, that guy's a star, was Rafael van der Vaart. That's the only one I can think of off the top of my head.
On a free transfer.
On a free transfer as well. Right? That tells you everything. And it is because, as Johnny, you just said, exactly bang on the money. We buy players because they're a good deal, not because they're necessarily what we need, right? And it all boils down to this wages thing, right? A lot of people talk about net spend and, you know, the money on transfers and stuff like that. It's what Arthur said, smoke and mirrors. The transfer fee is not important. It really isn't important. It's the wages that really tell you the story of it. And because we want to put this sort of ceiling as to how much of our turnover we will spend on wages, we don't buy good players or proven players because their wage demands are higher. Yeah. Look at our record signing. Our record signing is now Dominic Solanke, right? And people say, whoa, they went and spent £65 million on a striker. Yes, but we bought a striker who was playing for Bournemouth and whose career had taken a quite a large period of time to get to where it was before we could purchase him, before we purchased him. His wage demands will be a lot lower than, let's say, I don't know, like a Mo Salah, for instance, right? Obviously, they're different ages and Mo Salah's, you know, further on in his career. But if we'd wanted to, say, buy Mo Salah at the age that we bought Dominic Solanke at, his wage demands would have been monumentally high because his career had already hit that trajectory. He's a proven player. Look at the type of players that Spurs purchase, and I will guarantee that they have low wage demands, all of them. Right?
Yeah, they haven't reached that level, right? I think we, based on wages in the league, right, we are somewhere in the mid-table, if I'm not mistaken, right, paying wages, or I don't think we're even in the top 3 or 4.
In absolute terms, sorry, again, I'm so sorry for interrupting, but I just wanted you to, again, this is clear. It needs to be clear. Yes, in absolute terms, we are just mid-table, and that's where we're operating at the moment. But when you look at the proportion of our turnover, the proportion of money that we don't make mid-table club money. We make top of the table club money, but we spend mid-table wages. So the proportion, we've got the lowest proportion of wages to turnover ratio. I've been saying this for years, for yonks, 5 years.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But we've got the lowest in the league, possibly even in the entire pyramid, to be honest, outside of clubs that are in administration. Anyway, I've said my piece.
I can see Kim lurking in the background there. Tell her to come say hello.
Kim.
Hey, Kim.
Come say hello if you want. She's busy.
Okay,
outside.
sorry.
Right.
She might come and say hello. She's a bit busy at the moment.
Before she does, I'm jumping in very quickly. I've said this on other sessions. You know, different.
Yeah, that'd be helpful. Thank you, Dave.
When I met Levy when he was first taking the club over, and he said to me, they are fed up with what's going on at management level. They are true Spurs fans like me, right? And then they said, we want to take us back to where we were, winning trophies and winning the league, etc., etc., etc. 24 years on, 20 coming up for 25, what have we won? Yeah. One tin pot. Yeah. It's about time the rest of the fans, not you guys, obviously, because you feel the same, but the rest of the fans stood shoulder to shoulder and got this bastard out. Excuse my French, because I'm, as you know, I'm a lifetime fan and I'm a bit older than a lot of you.
No.
Just a touch.
No way.
But at the end of the day, this man is a liar and he takes and doesn't really give. It looks like he's giving, but he's a cheapskate bloody...
But this is the thing.
I'm sick of it. I really am. And to be honest with you, I've sold all my tickets for the rest of the season.
Really?
I've still got the season ticket, but I don't want to go and watch these matches because they always turn out the way they did yesterday.
Yeah. This is the thing. The interview in I believe it was in one of the papers, that he clearly stated, we have no love for football. This is purely financial.
Yeah. So what's he doing owning the club?
Yeah.
To make money for himself.
Yeah. But that was the thing.
I think.
ENIC owned how many other football teams? Didn't they have? I think it was AEK Athens, and Rangers, and then I think a few others.
Yeah,
and they sold
Sparta Prague, I think was one of them, or
Yeah.
Slavia Prague, one of them.
What was that
Yeah,
called?
They sold all of that,
yeah,
and then concentrated on
Yeah.
Tottenham.
There was a news article at that. No, was it recently that came out? Yeah,
It came out recently, but it was from
Yeah.
24 years ago.
yeah. So yeah,
And they
basically,
thought and basically the manager was saying that ENIC are known for not investing in their teams
that's right.
in any significant way.
Yeah.
It's the criticism, and it was a warning to when they were just taking
That's
over
right.
Tottenham,
It was a
wasn't
warning to Spurs fans, basically.
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of people, bear in mind, because Alan Sugar was so unpopular at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And looking back on it, I've got no great love for Alan Sugar at all. But you've got to say one thing: he actually saved Spurs. We would have gone under if it hadn't been for Alan Sugar.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But he was wildly unpopular at the time, and so ENIC was seen as the saviors of Tottenham. And there was this warning. I know, crazy, right?
But
there was a
Raz,
warning
don't forget, right?
AK Athens saying, "Don't
Alan
celebrate too
Sugar-
much. These guys are not interested in backing a manager."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
we'll
don't
see.
forget, right? Alan Sugar is the only owner, right, that actually bought a real world-class player, right?
Yes,
When
that's
he
true.
was at world-class level.
A
and that's
number.
it.
In fact,
Right.
he bought Gascoigne. Was Alan Sugar in charge when we bought Gascoigne?
No.
it?
Klinsmann, that's all.
Oh, yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
we bought Gascoigne, we bought Ginola under Sugar, we bought Lineker under Sugar. You know,
Yeah.
Van der Vaart.
yeah. No, we didn't buy him under Alan Sugar.
Who was it? It was
Van der
No, it
Vaart
was-
was under Phoenix. That's the thing. He's
Oh,
the only.
that-
He's the one player that I can
Yeah,
think of.
that's
that-
only because they got a deal.
and he was a free transfer. Yeah.
But guys,
Are you going for?
hey, hi, Kim.
And that's what we're dealing with, guys. Cheapskates.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think on the Ben Foster podcast the other day, he said that when they were on England duty, the Tottenham players would tell them about their contract because they had these supposed bonus structures which bumped up their wages to normal levels. You know, the other top teams, and they said they were ridiculous in the way they were structured. That if you beat to get a bonus, you had to beat one of the top 6 teams by 2 clear goals. So if you went to Old Trafford and you beat Man United 1-0, you wouldn't get your bonus. You had to beat by 2 goals or something like that. It was ridiculous the way they were structured. So all the Tottenham players, they were on these really good contracts, and then they'd go to England, and the other England players would say, "Just get on a decent basis with us. You'd have to go to Old Trafford and beat Man United by 2 goals to get your bonuses and stuff."
Yeah.
The Tottenham players thought they were on good contracts, but their eyes were open when they went to England duty.
Yeah. That's why all our players are depressed too, right? So
Tells you everything you need to know about the man, and he's not fit for purpose. He's not fit for purpose.
So, Kev, you've been very quiet, sir.
I'm listening to it all, mate. Don't worry about that.
No, I don't. But I just wondered if you wanted to put forward your 2 pence.
I just hate being a laughing stock for the whole footballing community
Yeah.
in the UK.
Here.
that's bad, yeah.
It's horrible. Everyone's laughing at us. The press, the commentators, the so-called experts, the punsters, all them. Everyone's laughing at us, and it's horrible, you know. And there's no recall to it. Like there's no recourse to it. You know, there's no answer to it. You just got to go along with it and just laugh. You know, I've lost the love again. I think because I can take or leave watching football now because I know I'm going to get the same rinse and repeat every week. You know, and then how do we beat Man City 4-0 and United, and then we go lose to all the lower table teams? You know,
You get.
I don't get it. You know,
You get Everton.
Kev,
fans-
are you
Palace
not
fans
entertained?
winning.
oh no, I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm so
totally.
destroyed. I really am. You know.
Skippy.
Yeah, over the last couple of days, you get Everton fans and Palace fans and people like that giving Tottenham fans shit for not winning trophies. I'm like, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
Won trophies more recently than you fucking Tim.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it comes to a pretty pass when Palace and Everton fans feel justified in taking the piss out of us. I mean, come on.
I saw something quite interesting the other day on Twitter. A well-known YouTube streamer, Tottenham fan, showed a picture of his new son next to a Crystal Palace scarf and said, "I am so sick with Tottenham. They're just down the road from us. Friendly club, easy to get tickets, good atmosphere. And I think that I am going to encourage my kid to support Crystal Palace." And of course, he got pelters from all the Levy-inners, and and I was thinking to myself, it's funny that because one of the guys I went to Tottenham with first time ever, He's a Tottenham fan, and he moved down to Surrey. And this
So
was
he's a Man United supporter now.
No. He goes to Palace as well. He used to go to Palace in the when they were in the Championship. And he again said, easy to get tickets. It's not the easiest ground to get to, but he drove, and wasn't a massive problem. And it does seem that there are fans, proper fans, who are becoming extremely disillusioned with this. But it doesn't matter because they're being replaced by a tourist.
Yeah.
So
that's what I'm saying, right?
And that is why we purchased that. I've forgotten his name. That young South Korean. Because he's supposed to take over from Sonny when Sonny eventually is just becomes too poor to play.
And
they
haven't even offered Sonny
young something, kind of young something. But guys, to tell the truth, right? When I've been saying this, right? When they crushed White Hart Lane, right? They crushed the soul of the football club, right? And now they build that toilet bowl, right? And because they've diluted the true football fans that's going there. I got no for anything against the people who go there as tourists or daytime fans or just there for the entertainment, right? That's their right? But the sad part is that the dilution of this football club in the stadium is so bad until now that when we lose games, right? People are still celebrating and spending money in the longest bar in Europe, eating there, putting funds into Levy's pocket. So Levy has got the fan base that he wants, right? One that won't go against him, that vehemently, right? And the other one, right, who was just there for the day, right? And
even diehard Levy outers don't actually put their money where their mouth is, right?
A lot of them do, yeah.
I've witnessed for myself people that are scream and shout, "Oh, I'm not going to spend money in the shop. I'm not going to spend money in the stadium." I've seen them do it, right?
Yeah,
I've seen them do it. This is a fan base, and I don't wish to have a go at fellow Spurs fans. I don't, but this is a fan base that is complacent, flabby, lazy, and really just they don't walk the walk.
You
right?
just described me.
No, but Jan, I mean, apart from a lot of us who go on YouTube and social media who are really strong Levy outers, right? The rest of them out there just flapping their mouths just to join the bandwagon, right? But deep down inside, they aren't Levy outers. They just say they are. I've seen so many people who say I'm staunch Levy out and this, and after that, right? They'll say that don't blame Levy for this, don't blame Levy for that. So when I'm thinking, like, why are you contradicting yourself when you're saying A and doing B? Right? And then after that, right? And then after that, right? I keep saying, right, guys, if you're going to be an influencer on YouTube, right, stick to your tone, right? A lot of people say after the games when we play like shit, right? I don't blame Levy for the selection that's been put out there, right? Yes, Levy didn't pick the players, but who the fuck picked that stupid manager up there? Right? Simple as that. That all the way up.
Yeah, that's such a massive misnomer. It's like the Daigle says it. It says the moment they cross the white line, Levy's not responsible. No, I'm sorry, mate. That's not how it works. It's also that lack of education, people not wanting to sort of educate themselves. When they step over the line, what, you think that Levy's influence disappears? Who pays their wages? Is what you said, Johnny, about if you don't unless you beat Man United 2-0, you're not going to get a bonus. Tell me that isn't going to affect the performance of the players on the pitch, right? So Levy has influence over the players when they're on the pitch as well. He might not necessarily pick them, but even there's question marks over it. There's question marks. You know, with the purchase of the players that we got, Jed Spence, for instance, right, was out of the side forever, and it was only absolute necessity that got him onto the pitch. Okay, as it transpires, he seems to be doing okay, but we didn't buy Jed Spence because Antonio Conte wanted Jed Spence. If you remember, Jed Spence was described as a club purchase by Antonio Conte. So tell me again how the players crossing the white line onto the pitch isn't affected by Daniel Levy.
And to get rid of him, for him to sell the club would cost at the moment 3.75 billion.
Yeah, but do you know what? This is the other thing. This is the other thing that you hear. Oh, he can't. We can't get rid of him because he owns the club. Excuse me. For those of you, there's actual businessmen amongst the crowd that say that, right? Excuse me, but I think you'll find that a chief executive doesn't actually have to be a shareholder. You can appoint chief executive. You can appoint a chairman. So you can own a football club, but you don't necessarily have to be the chairman of it, right? Daniel Levy.
Remember Apple?
Stand down.
It's all very frustrating, Rez. I mean, I
remember Apple, right? Yeah.
And I said I'm not going back until Levy's gone. But what good does it do? Because they'll just put someone else in their day tripper who's spending hundreds of quid in the club shop.
Oh no, Johnny, the worst
fan do, you know? Nothing.
No, the worst part is, right, all the Levy outers who hold season tickets, right, must not sell their season tickets. You know why? Because, right, he'll find a replacement season ticket holder who's a Levy inner.
Yeah.
Simple as that. How do you think Sean Butler, right, jumped 60,000 people, right, to get a season ticket now he holds a season ticket for about 2 years now, right? While he was like back in the line of 60,000, because he's on YouTube, he's a Levy supporter, so that helped him to get his, most probably somebody noticed and said, bring him in, right? He's going to be one of your big supporters, right?
Yeah. But was he the guy who used to sit in that like racing chair when he was streaming?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he still does. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he still does. Yeah.
King Pratt.
He was the guy. I don't know if you guys saw a couple of vids that I did for not We Are Tottenham TV on Brian Daigle's channel.
Tottenham on tour.
Tottenham on tour. Yeah. Did you see my Res Dissects where I did that that Arsenal fan and I sort of like eviscerated him and stuff, right? Unbelievable, right? This Sean Butler texts me, right? And essentially lays into me for having a go at an Arsenal fan, right? It's like, excuse me? This guy is an Arsenal fan. I mean, the guy was talking bollocks, right? And from what I understand, he's a nice guy allegedly, and his thing is like, oh my god, that was a character assassination. It's like, mate, it's a bit of banter, first of all. Second of all, the host of the show actually liked it. Third of all, what the fuck are you doing? You know? It's this, right? It's talk but no real action. The ones that protest as well, they don't do it in any kind of an organized or even a coherent fashion, right? I give them kudos for actually standing there and saying something, because that's better than the majority. But the way that they say it is so poor. And I've said it till I'm blue in the face. I've said, guys, if you really want to scare Levy, if you really want to give him something to think about, what you need to do is actually put together some leaflets, get together some actual coherent points, give people information, rather than stand there and shout. And I hate to say it, if you've got a pot-bellied man stripped to the waist harassing people in the shop queue, you're not going to be winning anyone over, right?
Sorry about that.
Sorry. I don't know if any of you saw it, but I can't remember which game it was. But
the rabbi was it?
I've got
the rabbi.
Yeah. I've got the videos. I still have that videos. I still got the video with me. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
No, but to tell you the truth, right? The thing is that you're gonna compare, right? When it was organized by Daigle and Stell and the Levy outers at 2 years ago when Conte was there, and if you watch the protest now, right, that they had recently from Change for Tottenham and all that, right? To me, I feel that it's even weaker now, right? Yeah. I think there were a bit more people there, but the message is even weaker when you start singing the Decky song. I was saying that Decky song doesn't mean shit, right?
It's awful.
It's like a party song. It's awful, right? And then, to tell the truth, I still remember 1.5 years ago when Change for Tottenham did join us, right? When we tried to start the Voice for Spurs, right? For all the YouTubers gathering again, right? And then there was, even in that scenario, there was a big battle. There was really a civil war in that group, right? That's why the group got disbanded. So that's why I said we can't even, Levy Outers can't even get along with each other, right? How are we going to go against the manager? Also, how are we going to go against the owner? Then when you bring in this manager, right, there's even divided us until more. So that's what I'm saying. The true Levy Outers now have become a minuscule in this whole diagram or paradigm and all that. Right? So how are we going to reunite back the Levy Out message? Right? They are so smart in doing this.
Do you think they've given up, Eugene? Do you
A
think
lot
they
of
just
us have
think,
given up.
we're not going to be able to change anything. Let's just...
And that's the worst part. And there are YouTubers out there, right, saying that message, right? I'm Levy Out, but I can't do anything. So what? Right? And I'm the only one here, right? For so long, been banging the drum, the focus still has to be Levy Out, and nobody's listening to me because I'm a small channel, right? And I don't want the pander to get big and all that, right? But the thing is that some of the bigger channels are waking up now, right? After all the shit has been going on, now we must refocus back on Levy Out. I've been saying refocus back on Levy Out.
Still a lack of education, right? That's the thing as well. It's like Expressions, right? He's probably the biggest fan-led Spurs channel, right? He keeps saying, "You're never going to get the owners out, so stop things." Like, no, X. Again, educate yourself. Yeah, you know them way there. Educate yourself and understand that in business, again, a chairman doesn't have to be the owner, right? And it might not work. He might be right. It might never lead to anything, but at least have some fucking bollocks and stand up for your club.
Yeah.
Right.
But as Eugene was saying earlier, I'd just like to say, like and subscribe. Yeah. Sponsored by whoever. Yeah, make sure you like and subscribe, and No, I'm just taking it. But Rez, I can remember a few years ago when we first started doing Shelfside Spurs that you said that you'd been, I'm not sure if you've been a member or you were in contact with members of the Supporters Trust.
Yes. I think my membership has lapsed, but I was.
Are they doing anything? I mean, I occasionally see a weekly worded tweet.
I'll give you an update on that, Jens. Right? I think about a month ago or something, the ex-chairman of the Supporters Trust, our THST, right, went on Tottenham Away. Yeah. Right. Oh right. Okay. He went on Tottenham Away and he did a show with Stel and Iggy, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry, it was Stel, Iggy, and Ian. Right, he said a lot of things that was not nice, right? And guess what, guys? He's no more the chairman of the trust.
Well, he resigned. He resigned recently.
Yes, he resigned recently. Yeah,
he did leave a parting shot to sort of say, look, I can't be the chairman of this trust or the whatever position was, while Daniel Levy continues to damage the club like this.
Yeah. No, you know why? I think right, Rez. I think because the message when they were doing the show, right, Martin did say this. He will go back to the trust and he will try to rally up some support for this. Sure. And I guess when that happens, right, the trust is a democratic body and all that they go through. And I think in the day, he resigned not on his own thing, but I think he was forced out of it. That's how I see it.
That's as maybe the thing is.
That's how I see it. That's how I see it.
Yeah, maybe, but again, we're straying very close to conspiracy theory territory here as well. We've got to be mindful. Ultimately, the Supporters Trust is there to look after the interests of the supporters, but the interests of the supporters go beyond just what happens on the pitch, what happens in the management structure. Okay?
Yes, I understand. Yeah, that I understand.
The THST, we've got to be, again, it took probably the first year of me streaming to actually get people to understand that the Supporters Trust isn't actually part of the club. Right? People thought, oh, the Supporters Trust, it's appointed by Levy, and there's no, it isn't, right? But like any organization, you will have competing voices in it. Yeah, it's like I don't know, a parliament. A parliament isn't made up of just the government party. It's made up of many, many parties with many, many voices, right? So this idea that they are a force for the club or a force against the club is meaningless. They're there to look after the things for supporters. What the Supporters Trust does a lot of, for instance, is helping supporters with disabilities, right? Helping supporters who have maybe been sanctioned by the club in some fashion. You know, these are the things that the Supporters Trust is there to do. A protest movement against the ownership might involve the Supporters Trust at some point, or it might not. It has to come to a point where enough of the supporters support the idea of a change of management at the top of the organization for the Supporters Trust to then say, right, our position is this. In the meantime, it goes back to a lack of effort, a lack of organization, a lack of thought, a lack of education amongst those that want to protest.
Lack of willpower.
Yeah. They just want to stand outside the stadium and shout and get tanked up. I know I'm doing them a disservice because I'm sure there are some that don't, but that's the appearance that you get. These are just a bunch of guys who want to get drunk and shout at people. That's the impression you get.
Yeah.
If you want to be taken seriously, you have to act seriously. No disrespect to him, but the rabbi should not be anywhere near your protest. Or if he is, you stand him on the side and you tell him not to shout and wave his stick at people and to cover his shirt up. Not because he doesn't have the right to open his shirt and wave his stick at people, but because of the impression that gives to people going past. If you want your movement to be taken seriously, to be respected, if you want your view to be respected, it has to, unfortunately, be respectable.
And shouldn't be done by intimidation.
Yeah. And you put out a little desk. You give people information that they can read. A large part of it will be chucked away. Most people will either throw it away then and there, or they'll take it home and put it in the trash when they empty their pockets. But enough people will read it that your movement grows, and it grows, and it grows, and it grows. You're not going to shout Daniel Levy out of his office, but you might leaflet your way out of it.
That's fair.
But
Maybe
again,
we have to take a different approach, right?
The problem with the issue with that is that leaflets cost money.
Absolutely right.
And
Yeah,
who's
absolutely.
Pay for that?
Yeah, it does. But they find money to put up the banners, which are very good, I will admit. They're very good.
Yeah.
Devote a little part of that money to actually putting together some printed material. Yeah. Have a cogent message, hold some meetings with people that are like-minded and think, okay, how do we approach this? They find money for balloons. That's a great idea, but there's got to be something behind it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
didn't
that
think
if
about that.
people say, oh, all these balloons are appearing. What's that all about? I have no idea. But if you've given people leaflets outside of the stadium before you do it, saying we're going to release some balloons at this time, which not everyone uses social media. You've got someone who right there. So, oh, it's that protest about Daniel Levy. Yeah, you know what? He's not running the club very well, is he, Steve? No, Dave, he isn't. Oh, maybe we should go to one of these protests. What do you think? Yeah, we'll go for a drink first, and then we'll see what it's all about. And you move,
but not in the stadium.
But not in the stadium, yeah. But then your movement grows. You know, a few people. You don't do it all at once. A few people not spending in the club shop, not spending in the stadium, a few more people at the protest, a few more people going onto social media after the fact, more people at your meetings. That's how the Supporters Trust got started.
Yeah.
Right? That's how the Supporters Trust got started. It's about organization. These are all organizing things that they either don't want to do or they don't haven't been told how to do, which is false, because I've certainly told some of them, this is what you need to be doing.
Yeah.
They don't want to do it. And so we're in a situation where people say, oh, you can't get rid of the owners. Well, no, not with the way that you're acting at the moment.
Yeah.
That's true.
To be honest, I think everybody should have a vote here, and we're going to nominate Rez as the leader of the Levy Outers on YouTube.
Leader of the pack.
I don't think so. Somehow.
Yeah. Hey. Yeah. Yay. All say yay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yay. But guys, I'm gonna make a move, right? Yeah. I'm gonna make a move, right? Keep on the show, keep on going. I'll catch up with you guys later. Happy New Year, and enjoy yourselves. Apart from the football, right? Life is life. We have to move on.
Thank you, Eugene.
Right.
Yeah.
Take care, Eugene.
Take
the
care.
best.
All right. Take care, guys. Bye bye.
Thanks, mate.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Right, take care.
And send love to the family, right, Arthur?
I'm
And
just
all
going to
you
say
guys,
that
right.
to you.
And
All right.
likewise.
Take care.
yours.
Bye bye.
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 Can I go for a pee?
Of course. Please do. I'll have a pee, please, Bob.
Thank you.
Can you get out? Right? Okay, just about.
Okay, right, chaps. Do we want to talk about the result on the pitch yesterday, or can we not really be asked about that?
But I said,
I've got
actually
3
said-
words.
Sorry. Go on.
Pile of dog. And I'm not going to finish it.
Yeah. What happened?
I'm still
It's-
waiting to find out.
Yeah, so I'll run through the team: Austin, Spence, Gray, Dragusin, Porro, Saar Bergvall, Werner, Kulu, Johnson, and Solanke. Now we got off to a half decent start, but did anyone actually feel confident after we scored that first goal that we were going to win?
No.
You never
John,
do.
you were mentioning that yesterday. If you want to elaborate on what you were saying about how you thought we were a bit unlucky.
What, the handball? Well, yeah.
No, just bad finishing, etc.
Oh yeah, bad finishing. That's what it came down to, really. I mean, Werner and Johnson, fucking useless, aren't they? Really?
Yeah.
Just powder puff up front, aren't we? Really? I mean, we played all right to working the ball up to the final third, didn't we? Solanke got a good goal. We had a good chance. He hit the target with a couple of headers, didn't he? But Johnson had a couple of good chances. He skewed, didn't he? Werner did the whole sum of nothing like he usually does. I think that the problem was the midfield, because Saar was harrying around all over the place like a headless chicken, trying to press and tackle people.
Yeah.
And then once they got past him, Bergvall and Kulu aren't natural sort of positional based midfielders either, who were going to tuck in and sort of resist. And then there was a big hole through to our makeshift defence. Well, that's where we kept conceding chances, and they were doubling up over on Porro because our chum Johnson didn't ever bother going to help him, did he? So Porro had 2 to deal with on the overload every time. So similar to what Liverpool were doing, weren't they? They overloaded Porro as well on that Dragusin Porro side. Just chucked loads of players down there to overload us on that side and got in most of the time, didn't they?
Yeah.
The goals have come from this season, isn't they?
Yeah.
But this is, I was saying yesterday as well to you guys, I couldn't figure out who was playing at centre back in the second half. It was just, I think John said it was Spence who tucked in.
Yeah, it was Spence on the right and Grace on the left.
What the hell was that about?
I think Dragusin was ill, apparently. He's one of the players that was ill when he had no energy left.
Yeah.
So they had to make
I know he's just come back from injury, etc. But what about Dorrington, who's actually a natural centre back?
Yeah. Why not?
But that takes a bit of brain power to do that.
Yeah.
You're not wrong, mate.
Oh, you're not entertained?
Yeah.
Senior pros, isn't it? Some managers like to go with their senior pros, don't they? They've tried and tested. They know they're going to get 6 out of 10 out of them, and not just throwing some youngster in for the sake of it. I mean, there's an argument for doing it, I think, when you get to this stage. I mean, what's the point in Dorrington being in the squad if he's not going to play when we've got 2 makeshift centre backs there, and then one of those goes off? What's the point in being in the squad, really? It's like Whiteman and Austin. What's the point in being here if they're not even going to get a shot when the 2 main keepers are out? Now they've brought another one in as well. There's no point in Austin and Whiteman being here, is there, really?
No, I mean, the doggy, I think, is injured for something like 6 weeks, let's say, right? Yeah. What happens when we get to Europe and Jed Spence isn't in the UEFA squad?
Mm-hmm.
Or Region?
I think that can be changed, can't it? I believe it's.
I think you can, but I don't know whether or not you can do that before the group stages have ended in UEFA. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not saying we can't, but let's say this happened 4 or 5 weeks ago when we went up to Rangers. What then?
Poor old Gray will be shunted out to left back, won't he? But then who are we going to put at centre back?
That's now 2 players we've actually played in all 3 positions in defence, right? Jed Spence and Archie Gray.
he must be well peed off. I was saying to the guys the other day, Rez, about Gray, because he's come in as a midfielder, and because of all these injuries, he's been shunted all over the place, and he hasn't actually got a chance in the midfield.
Central midfield, yeah.
Yeah. Now, when they put Dorrington on the other day, I was like, oh, they're going to give Gray a chance in midfield, but they pushed him out to left back to put Dorrington on, so he still didn't get a chance in midfield.
Jack of all trades.
Yeah. But let's hope he doesn't become a master of none, because I have a feeling that the guy is going to be if he hangs around for long enough, he's going to be a memorable player, if not a legend.
He's got shades of Perriman about him, and he's got the right attitude. And he's come into the team well, and he can just cope and gets on with it. And he's got a good attitude. Apparently, he was
an old head on young shoulders.
Yeah, he was one of the ones who was the most ill as well. Apparently, Gray, he'd been in bed all week, and he still stood up to play.
Yeah,
I'm playing. Don't worry about me, mate.
Good lad.
Same with Dragoshin. He was in bed. You know, he was playing while he was ill yesterday. Apparently.
Yeah. I said to Cooley, probably was like Chuck Norris, wasn't he? I don't believe in illness. Illness doesn't affect me. Like, if you fuck off illness, it doesn't affect me.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Wow.
That's good. I mean, it all comes back to what we've talked about all day, to be honest. What yesterday, it's just indicative of the same disease. It's just another symptom, you know.
I see Levy's going to change the name of the club now. Circus of Laughter.
Yeah. We're certainly a clown show.
Oh, bloody hell.
You've seen them videos doing the rounds on social media. He didn't even celebrate when we scored. Even the other people in the board were like, he was just sitting there going,
stock still. Yeah, he was just sat there like,
what's the point?
Yeah.
Don't forget, he's a massive fan.
Yeah,
he's a massive something.
I know that. He told me face to face.
He's a massive something.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I think it begins with C and ends in T.
Crust.
Yes.
Yes.
Crust. Yeah.
I guess
we're going to see another nine-goal thriller on Wednesday night.
Sorry?
I think we'll see another nine-goal thriller on Wednesday night. We'll probably lose
9-0 to Liverpool.
Against us, yeah.
We're going to get hurted really badly.
Yeah.
Who do we think's going to play then? Do we have any news?
Nobody. They all run away.
Is Davis going to be back anytime soon? I thought he was at the end of December.
I think he'd had a setback.
Yeah, he had a
shit.
A couple of weeks, I've heard, but I don't know.
We haven't got Madison or Sarr on Wednesday either. They're both suspended.
Marvellous.
Oh, when it rains, it pours.
Bentancur's back, isn't he?
Bentancur will be back, won't he?
It's a good new theme tune before each game starts now.
Yeah.
Call in the clowns.
It'll be Bentancur, Basuma, and Kulusevski, you think, in the midfield, wouldn't you? And then Johnson's.
Well, we should enjoy Kulu as much as we can, because he won't be here much longer.
No.
I said last week, Rez, I think Man City petrol blowing smoke up his arse, and he loves him, so I think he'll be coming in for
well, you look at Man City at the moment, they've fallen apart since Rodri's problem, and Kulu is the perfect Rodri backup, right? Yeah. And he can go to Man City. I mean, if they're still in existence, or if they're still in the league.
In the Premier League.
But forget Man City. You can go anywhere else and stand
Madrid,
the best chance of winning something. And Ibrahimovic at AC Milan is apparently stroking his ego as well. Trying to get him, and the club apparently are willing to cash in on him. And it's like, you lot just don't get it. He's our best player this season, and instead of actually giving him a reason to stay, you're actually thinking about what you'll do if he leaves. That just says everything that you need to know. You're
just squeezing every last penny out of the sponge, aren't they? Before
absolutely
they leave.
That's it.
So
all the time, every time, someone needs to be asking Daniel Levy, where is the money? Where is all the money? We make more than £500 million in turnover every year, and our wage bill is about 190 million. Where's the rest, Mr. Levy?
Well, there are all these companies that we've set up.
Yeah.
Say no more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bahamas.
Larger sessions, Rez, and the panel. Nice to see you, Mark. Always a pleasure, never a
You
chore.
got Mark.
So I did actually. I heard a rumor the other day that they're building a new Queen Mary, whatever, luxury liner for Daniel Levy down in Southampton. So I think that's where the money's going.
Excellent. Good.
And he's
Let's
going
hope
to
it
set up a
sinks.
football pitch on there so we can play on there, and he can invite people for £2,000 a minute.
Ah, well, that's useful. Hopefully, it will sink with him on board.
What exactly has anyone heard? What's happened with old Joe? Was he
Lewis.
convicted?
Oh, Lewis.
Lewis, yeah.
He pleaded guilty, didn't he? But I don't know what he got.
I think he got some kind of censure in the United States, but obviously he's a billionaire. There's no chance that he's ever going to go to jail or anything.
Yeah.
And so, from what I understand, I don't know how true it is, but apparently he's busy displacing people from their lands in Argentina so he can build a billionaires only resort down there in Patagonia. That's what I've heard. Yeah. He's a lovely man. Shriveled old husk of a walnut that he is. He's got the type of face you want to slap into a wall.
With a brick. Yeah.
With a brick, yeah.
The thing is, you wouldn't know if you walked past him in the street, would you? Really?
No, that's right.
That's because he doesn't walk anywhere.
No, that's right. He's probably carried everywhere on a litter borne by 4 baby elephants or something. Just something that's got the maximal amount of moral and environmental damage attached to it.
The great bandito of Patagonia.
Yes, that's right. He doesn't have central heating at his house. He's got these massive fireplaces in which he burns the corpses of endangered whales.
Likeable fellow.
Yeah, lovely chap. Sounds wonderful.
Yes, he's a lovely
right, guys. Do we have anything else we want to discuss?
I don't know.
Do we want to wrap it up now?
Should we discuss what would be a good result on Wednesday to take to Anfield?
a good result would be a 6-1 loss. That would be a good result.
Yeah.
After that first game with Liverpool the other week, the Liverpool players are actually in their dressing rooms moaning and groaning about 3 goals scored against them. Never mind that they scored 6, No. We're the first team to score more than 2 against them,
You should have had 5, shouldn't we, as well? We missed a couple of good shots at the end.
Yeah.
Even Cooley said when it went to 3-5, we thought we had a chance to get back into this, and then they went up the other end and made it 6 to kill us.
Yeah. Think, if we sell Kulu, what are we going to do?
Yeah,
that's a good question.
That's it.
That is a good question.
The fat really will be in the fire then.
Well, we held on to Harry for ages because he had a connection with the club.
Yeah.
I think it really was his sense of loyalty that kept him at the club for as long as it did. Kulu hasn't got that. Kulu's from Sweden. His family's Macedonian. He played in Italy. There's going to be hundreds of other clubs that will probably be likely to be of greater import to him than Spurs. Just because we pay his wages at the moment means nothing.
You're not going to get Jens talking badly about the Swedes. Come on.
No, I love him.
Yeah.
He just couldn't eat a whole one.
Sorry. He's not Swedish. He's the other type of Dane.
I've heard. Yeah, I don't know how much this is true, but that he's always been quite keen on Arsenal. And I think that's... Sorry?
He was an Arsenal fan as a kid.
Oh, was he? Okay.
Yeah.
I think it was a Freddie Lundberg, something like that connection. As long as he doesn't go there, And even if we do make a load of money out of him, it's not going to be put back into any decent players, is it?
No.
They just signed someone like Richarlison again, and
they're talking about 45 million.
Really? So that's I thought.
But again, remember the transfer fee is actually not germane. The transfer transfer fees now, all they are is just basically a marker of a debt reallocation somewhere else. That's all it is, right?
Okay.
We've got to get outside of the mindset of, oh, we've got 200 million to spend this summer, or, you know, the money, the transfer fees can always be found. It's all about wages, guys. Ignore the price tag in inverted commas. They want you to think like that. But you look at, who's that Swiss something or other who posts on Twitter about football finances? You look at his stuff, and he very rarely, if it's a he, I think it might even be a she actually, but they never talk about, you know, transfer fees and all of that stuff. It's all about expenditure, which all boils down to wages. The sooner we all get off this idea of we've got 100 million to spend on a player and think we've got 200,000 pounds a week that we can find to buy this player, the more aware of what Spurs do and don't do will all be. Because it's such the scales fall from your eyes. It's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. We're not going to buy that player because his wage demands don't fit our model. We're not going to get that player because he won't accept. He won't accept that, you know, basic plus commission style of contract. Did you hear the story about Paulo Dybala?
Nope.
I don't know I'm not sure how true it is. It may well be fully apocryphal, but it's believable. Apparently, everyone tells the story that, or is told the story that the Dybala deal didn't happen because of image rights. It's actually, according to this story, isn't the case. According to this story that I've heard, all the image rights stuff was sorted. Everything was ready. It was done. I think we'd agreed something like £135,000 a week for him, which is not bad for a player of his caliber. And then basically once it was all ready, Daniel Levy said, I would just want to have one final meeting with him and his agent. He pulls them into his office. They sit down. He says, right, I think we've got it all sorted. We're going to pay you £115,000 a week, right? £20,000 less than was actually agreed. And him and Dybala and his agent just looked at each other, stood up and walked out of the office.
Yeah, I can believe that.
Right? You can believe it even if it isn't true. It's the type of thing he would do that you can see Levy doing.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. You know? So it's again, he's not fit for purpose. He's not fit to be a football chairman. And whether or not we can get him out, we should at least try.
Wheelie dealer.
Penny Peachy Barrow boy.
Yeah.
Wheelie dealer, yeah. He's a Del boy.
In a suit.
I mean, ultimately, he got his money from his dad. Do you know who his dad was? This will give you an indication. That's right. His dad owned Mr. Byright. You know?
That's right,
yeah. Which the one time I went to a Mr. Byright store, I thought I'd been gone to Sarajevo during the Civil War. Right? It was that bleak in there, you know, strip lighting, fucking, you know, clothes falling off shelves and shit.
Clothes for a £5. Yeah. I know. I used to dress myself exclusively from there.
Used to.
Yes.
Buy wrong.
Jens, the face of Mr. Byright.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, dear.
We should see if we can get a sponsorship from them.
Even if we don't, Reg, we should put it on here, sponsored by Mr. Byron.
I've got it tattooed on my ankle.
Mr. Byright, for fuck's sake. Lord John would be a step up.
Those were the days.
Not for Mr. Byright. They never had any days.
Already.
Oh, bloody hell. Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
So, just to chuck in a transfer rumour that I think this guy is turning into a little bit like Leandro Damião, Randall Kolo Muani.
Oh,
yeah.
Apparently, we're interested in him.
PSG, right?
Yeah, but he was at Bruges before, wasn't he?
Oh, right, one of them.
Something like that. And surprise, surprise, it's a loan deal.
Oh,
well.
Try before you buy. Try before you buy right.
That's it.
Funnily enough, they did have 14 days return.
Seriously, did anyone need 14 days? I think 14 minutes would have been enough.
Genie Mac.
Oh, Bloody hell.
Yeah,
Right,
Levy likes
okay.
to make sure.
Yeah. Oh dear. Oh. Do you think those Modric shirts that he gave to Sparta Prague or whoever it was were made by Mr. Byright?
It would not surprise me in the slightest.
Cheap
God,
knockoff.
yeah, I remember those stories.
Their boardroom somewhere, like cheap knockoff printed on versions.
They did fall apart.
Wash it
after
once,
the
it's all
first wear.
peeling off.
Well, that's it. They hang it up and it just sort of like drops off the edge of the stitching, left with two bits of thread like this, while the shirt pools on the floor at their feet.
Oh,
You could say this thread has gone to pieces. Boom, boom.
okay then, guys. If we can't think of anything else to talk about,
We're
Anyone
going
want to give me-
to do score predictions for Liverpool.
Levy's favourite
yeah.
tune is When the Tills Are Ringing.
yeah, that's very, very true.
Yeah.
So, score predictions for, is it Wednesday or Tuesday?
Wednesday.
Wednesday. We've
Liverpool.
got to try and take a
Anfield.
lead to Anfield, haven't we? Because we're no good at Anfield.
And we've still got to go there in the league as well at some point this season.
We're no
We'll turn up
good at the
with
no-name
flag.
stadium either. Sorry, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Yeah.
They'll turn up with a white flag.
I don't know.
I reckon it'll be. Do you know what? I'm going to go with 6-3 again.
Yeah. Wow. Arthur?
I hate saying this, but I think he's right. Go with Reed.
He doesn't.
Oh,
He doesn't
there's
agree
been-
with me. He doesn't. He doesn't agree with me ever about anything. He's like, I really like your daughter. No, you don't.
All right. 2-2 Desmond
Right.
for me.
See, I agree.
I don't know what's happening. I don't know what he's doing here.
Who, me? I'm an interloper.
Kev?
Kev's got
2-2.
2-2.
2-2,
That's
yeah.
John?
Yeah.
We need to take a win up there, don't we? Because it's going to be hard work.
No.
Do you think that they will rest players because they've got Champions League the week after, haven't
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, we got
I think
the
even then-
we got the Europa.
Who's to rest?
they? Exactly.
We've barely got a bloody first team.
Um,
Oh,
we,
it's a
need, we
joke.
need a win, don't we? 2-1, 3-2 Tottenham. There we go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Take a narrow one goal lead up there to keep our hopes up before we get.
I
Yeah.
love your
Yeah.
optimism.
I'm going to go
enthusiastic about it as
2-2.
well.
2-2.
I'm going to go 2-2 as well. I think that we'll be up for it because it's a cup game, even though half of the players are missing, and then probably 5-0 to them up in Anfield.
Yeah, I like it.
But don't forget, mate, I always win something in my second season.
We're at home. Sorry, I
Right on,
were,
mate.
I thought we were at Anfield. I thought we were at Anfield first. It's the other way around. Yeah,
Are you
yeah,
not
sorry.
entertained?
Yeah. Okay, maybe 2-2 in that case. Yeah, I'll go with that as well.
Oh, wow, so it's 3 of us for 2-2. So, well,
Well, I'm
it's nailed on now, isn't it?
Now,
Arthur's staying at 6-3.
Okay.
we got the Tamworth game kicks off at 12:30 next week.
Oh, nice.
Saturday
Is
or
it?
Sunday? Is it
Sunday.
Sunday?
Mm-hmm.
What do
Okay.
you reckon we'll lose by there?
6-3.
Have you seen the prices that they're charging?
Yeah.
They've like doubled
Oh,
Yeah.
the which you
Fair
can
enough.
kind of
Fair
understand
play.
it.
Yeah.
Sorry?
every once in a
Is
lifetime.
it
Isn't
at
it?
Tamworth or at our place?
It's at Tamworth.
Oh, yeah, fair enough, yeah.
Yeah, Tamworth is a category A.
That's when we get knocked out.
Fair play to them. That's where they make their money to survive.
Exactly.
On sales against these big
Yeah.
games. So
And seeing as they got rid of replays as well, because you
Yeah.
never know, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
then they need to make some money. There's obviously loads of people who are very angry about it, but
Yeah.
still,
And
So
rightly
it's-
so.
we can't
And rightly
rotate
so,
our
that's
squad, can we? Because we haven't got anyone. Because of
You know
our
what?
injuries, we can't
For
play
the-
a weakened team.
It's all in favor of the big clubs, right? Replays are to the advantage of smaller clubs who can sometimes get a little bit more of a cash injection, you know, or if, say, for instance, they go away somewhere and they don't get that much money. Again, the big clubs don't like it because of fixture congestion, and so the small clubs are the ones that suffer.
yeah.
It's a joke. It's a joke.
I think you get 50-50 on the receipts, don't you? For
Is that right? Yeah.
FA
Yeah,
Cup
I believe they do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it suits the smaller clubs to play at the bigger grounds where they get more of the slice of the pie. Kind of.
They get everything. But still, even then, you know, if you can manage to get a result, hold them to a draw, you know, that's another fixture in which you can make a bit more money, you know, which is desperately needed lower down the pyramid. This trickle down bollocks that we get in the English pyramid at the moment, it doesn't work for them very well, you know. So anything that gives them a little bit extra money, I'm all up for. But obviously the big clubs don't like it, and what the big clubs want happens.
Yeah.
They'll
Well,
get
you would have
TV
thought it'd
money
be
as well, won't they?
a nice touch if we gave
They'll
them
get TV money as well, which is will help them.
Yeah, more TV money as well. Yeah, exactly.
But you can't really imagine Dr. Evil saying, "Oh, hello, Mr. Tamworth, Chairman. Have our half."
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. I'll give you a quarter and 10 Modric shirts.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
All together, the mini-me piece.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Okay, the chat's going to wrap it up now. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you, everybody, for coming on. Rez, Arthur, Kev, John. Don't forget to like and subscribe for RVTV. RickyVillaTV, Spurswation TV, and of course the one and only Shelfside Spurs.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year. It's been great to have you back on again, Rez, and John and Kev. It's been emotional.
Yeah.
It's like a reimagining of the old crew.
Yeah.
I shall catch you later. Come on, you Spurs, and Levy
out.
Leave it out. And you'll always get a glitch with me.